welcome to the Aftermarket Report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date, October the 22nd, 2018, and I'm going to send it right over to Vegas.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone had a good trading day. We had quite a few things on the go today. And just to start off, I'm just going to summarize quickly the stocks we're going to cover off. So we're covering off PLAG. As you guys know, that was halted Friday, and I'll talk about that and how we survived that one. And then we have Tops, GLBS, and a couple other shippers. Jim's going to talk about that. And then we'll be talking about NETE, SAEX, and NVCN. So I'm going to start with PLAG. As you guys know, this is the one that had the halt on Friday. And nobody knew what it was. You know, why is there a halt? I mean, they kept saying there's material news. And everybody in the world that trades kept making comments all over social media that the stock is junk, it's a fraud. You know, there's going to be bankruptcy. I mean, if you got to listen to all that noise, believe me, you would have been stressed out all weekend for nothing. And the reason we say for nothing is because, you know, Jim and I did some due diligence. You heard in the video last night, Sunday night's video, and we talked about, you know, I did say the company's been in business since 1986. The two executives recently bought shares. So who knows what kind of news? We don't know if it's going to be good or bad. We just know that it's a 50-50 chance. Anyways, the stock did finally open up. And luckily, you know, it is good that we had people invoice in the room because I was able to actually coach them in real time. And people were very nervous. People had the stock around $6, $7, and $8 last week. And when they saw the stock pull back, some people thought, oh my God, you know, this is really killing my account. And we were able to look at the tape and look at the chart and really try to coach people accordingly and let them know that, you know, here's the next support and resistance. And we kept spitting out numbers nonstop. And thankfully, I would say at least the majority of the traders got out of the trade either flat, meaning they got in for the same price they paid, or they got out with some profit. Maybe not a huge profit, but it doesn't matter. We don't go broke taking some profit, and you don't go broke closing the trade for the same price you got in at, obviously minus your commission. So this turned out to be a good story in the morning, but let me tell you, the stock's not doing well right now. It's down to $4.12, and I'm going to let Jim talk about that chart.
Yep.
Jim, over to you.
We had the big breakout on Friday, and everybody got real excited about this stock. I was flipping other ones, so I didn't pay much attention to it. But it ran all the way up from this low level of 285 and closed at 1151 with that halt most of the day. I mean, I didn't particularly care much for the way the halt happened, and because I just don't like long halts. And they mentioned a T1. I mean, this was just kind of, the halt was messed up, and I still think it is. Well, we speculated, and everybody else speculated, and so here we are. We come in this morning, this thing dropped down all the way down to around 313, and I started in the room. I started your first resistance is going to be 407. Then I also mentioned 470, and I also mentioned 546. Now I got all these trend lines off yesterday or Friday's run, so I use them same extended trend lines for today. We started bouncing up. Then Vegas and I noticed once it hit back to that 47, we got that double bottom that it was going to take off, and it did take off. And the pretty thing about how it took off, it was a slow, gradual climb. You know, people weren't shoving in big trades on this stock. So what I think, and people were just put cost and average down, trying to make their money back, realizing that we all pulled together and brought this thing back up. And once it hit $9, I started telling everybody in the room, I said, now's the time to start taking your profit. And some hesitated a little bit, but if they hesitated too long, you seen what happened. The thing came back down to 470 and then kind of puttered up a little bit. Had a nice little flip there if you took it, but then pulled on back and closed at 420. 420, haha. So there we are, PLAG. I'm taking it off my watch. I'm going to watch it.
420.
Yeah. I,
I just got that joke now.
uh, so I'm going to be watching it, and
Yeah.
I might flip it if it starts to pick up some momentum. But I wasn't in the trade, and thank God I wasn't, because that would have really bothered me all weekend. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you know what? I will say that I think the fact that I was calm
yeah, you really
really
had a
was
calm demeanor
instrumental.
today, and I want to give Vegas a lot of credit because she was in this trade at a pretty big loss, and she was able to
Recover with
recover
profits.
with it, and she helped the room recover, and and there's not too many traders out there that will go out of their way most of the day and try to help people out like that. So kudos to Vegas, and let's get on to the other ones, and we're
Yeah,
going to talk
thank you.
about shipper
So
stocks.
you talk about those shippers because let me tell you,
Ah,
Jim was just shipping tops nonstop. He was shipping and flipping
yeah,
is what he was doing.
I
So
think
he
I
was on tops and GLBS, but tops was his baby. And maybe you could talk about your tops experience today
oh, it was
and how well you did on it just from scalping it all day.
well, when I woke up this morning and I seen the news on this thing that someone took a big stake into Tops. I mean a huge stake, a lot of money. And I seen this thing and I said this is going to be the play of the day for me, and I'm going to flip this as many times as I can because I've been alerting this thing under $1 to $1.30 for months, and I've played the Tops for years. Almost, it's one of the first stocks I ever traded, and that was 14 years ago. So, and I telling everybody in the room, I know this like the back of my hand. And so we started out with Tops, and I got in this thing right around $2, and I run it up, and I pulled it back, and I run it up, and it played on this support at 197 for a while. And then we had a little tie right here. You see this little tie up right here? Well,
I see that.
all the moving averages just kind of smooched each other. And when that 50-day jumped over the 100, I said, let's go to town. And so it run up and hit that resistance that it hit previous. See, at 238, pulled right back, hit that 100 SMA, bounced up. I was calling every one of these trades. I mean, I hitting it like, and here's a couple extra ones I'm going to post in here. I highlighted some and showed the room how I was playing these trades. This ran all the way up here to 270 and pulled back and hit that 200 SMA. I was yelling, strong buy, strong buy. So that sucker run up there and it hit that 100, and I saying strong sell, strong sell, and then we failed that, and I've started using a little patience because you get complacent when you're doing so good and you're making so many great trades. So I took a pause, and then I looked at it again. I said, man, this thing's back down to $2. Now I think it was right around 220, and then I just watched it go down, and there we go. We had a bounce up to that 220. Here it called another play right here. I said this thing's oversold, and bam, man, the thing bounced up to that 213 resistance. I got out of it, and I did this all day long, and there at the end, right here at the end of the day, I just said I'm going to give up. I've had my one of the best days I've had with a single stock, flipping it in and out, in and out, in and out. And here we are. We closed at 193. So I got out, at 215 and after hours. So keep Tops on watch. Keep all the shippers on watch. The next one that I want to talk about real fast is GLBS. We alerted this in the aftermarket report yesterday. We had a great run. The thing broke out this morning, pulled back right to support. We had the golden cross, and it jumped on up. That 50-day carried that 50-day half the day today, and then sold off the rest of the day. And there's times in here I could have probably flipped it, but I was too occupied playing Tops. And we're going to mention a couple more. All these shippers run together, and today was a beautiful one. We called this out in the video last night. So, I'm kind of boasting a little bit because when a plan comes out like this, it's just perfect. It's wonderful. So DCIX we had on watch. That son of a gun broke right out after hours. Look at that. Ran all the way to 245. Pulled back pre-market. And then there was our entry. It was ready to rebound again. Hit that resistance there I had at 205. Pulled back. And there was another great play. DCIX. And these are stocks you want to keep on your watch list next time they run again. and I still think they're hot. They just need to consolidate. Then DRYS. In the room, I've alerted DRYS. I alerted suckers down at 455, and I was screaming this thing out Friday, all week last week. I was saying this thing under $5 is a strong buy. Well, look what happened this morning, man. Them shippers got hot. It ran all the way up to 584. I called resistance, pulled back, consolidated, and bounced back up. And we're at 570 after hours. DRYS is one of my favorites. Tops is one of my favorites if you know how to play it. Keep GLBS on watch and DCIX. In Vegas, you got one you want to talk about?
Yeah. So, and just to clarify, we're talking about these shipping companies. We're not talking about like UPS and FedEx. These are like shipping companies that like ship containers.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So I just want to make
Marine.
that clear.
They're on the Marine watch list.
Exactly. So the other one is NETE, NETI, Net Element, and that one there. Interesting news on that one. That one had some information here. Just gotta just pull it up. Just give me 1 second here. So it did go up after hours here, as the company, who's actually located in Florida, said that their unified payment subsidiary launched a secure and compliant payment processing offering for the legal cannabis industry. So they're processing payments for the cannabis sector. Okay, so you have to remember that cannabis is still federally illegal. So what's happening is that Unified Payments is looking to address the challenges with a, compliant payment option solution. So, they're very excited. I'm going to quote what they said. The president is very excited to launch a legal cannabis payment acceptance solution to meet the needs of the sales partners and merchants for this emerging market. So this stock did move up after hours. And I'm going to, Jim's going to talk to you about that chart, because if he looks back at one time 7 months ago, this was like over $10.
Yep. And I'm going to type that ticker right in here. I'm going to pull up the year's chart, let you have a look at it. Look at that. It looks all messed up, don't it? I've been playing this stock in and out. All these little trend lines are my extended trend lines, and they're all clustered up right now, but you can see this sucker run one day. It run all the way up to 33.51. This is back during the Bitcoin craze. So after that kind of flopped off, it kind of pulled back and created support right here around 550. Well, then it had another little run, and here we got all the way down here to new support of right around 359. Well, today they come out with that news, and of course everybody's going to jump on it because all the other pot stocks have kind of sold off. They've after last week's legalization in Canada, that's what the big thing was. So they all kind of pulled back and consolidated. I'm still looking at them. I still love my pot stocks, but this is NETE. Keep it on watch. I think this can run more. It's going to have momentum and it's going to have the volume. So keep
And
NETE
you know
on
what? I
watch.
think stock did have a run today.
Oh yeah, 1190.
So it's pulled back. So definitely Jim's watching this because he loves when they run like this and pull back.
Yeah, and I use my moving averages on this, the 50, the 100, and the 200-day moving average. And these are great for breakout stocks, and I just love playing with these averages. So NETE, and we got two more we want to talk about.
Yeah, so just the only one second last one is SAEX. We did mention previously weeks ago, and probably one of our is that there's been a lot of catalyst stakes in SAEX, which is the SAEX Exploration Holdings, and obviously in the energy sector. And this particular stock, even though it had some catalysts, it hasn't really moved as much as I thought it would by now. However, the reason it's still on watch, and a lot of people, I think, have this also on a swing trade. I actually have it on a swing trade, and my entry on back around, I'll tell you, nasty entry, 851. So, I mean, I've been holding for a while. So this stock here should be on your watch because Morgan Stanley has taken a 3.6% interest in the company. So there's another, obviously, catalyst investor. And that's not such a huge position because the other ones were much bigger, but it doesn't matter. There's obviously on there stock. So, keep a watch and Jim can talk about that chart.
Yep, Jim will talk about the chart.
All right.
And Jim's going to type it in, and there we go. I'm going to pull up the yearly chart first. I always like to look at the year, and look at that. I mean, this thing has had some nice highs on it. It's way oversold. We're at a bottom on this thing. Look, and this had a high of 73.80 at one time. I see a resistance at 66. And I see a bunch more resistance at 50 something. So this has got, you look at the year chart, you're thinking to yourself, wow, this thing bounced up last month on, what date is this? On 9/21, it bounced all the way up to around 31 bucks, SAEX. Pulled right back down. So here we are at the bottom support. I'm going to pull up a 20-day chart, hour. That don't tell me much. I'll magnify it up a little bit here. So we're at a bottom. We hit bottom last week at 607. Like Vegas says, someone put a new stake in this stock. So the more people put money in this, the fat cats, the stronger it's going to get. Now I flipped this a couple of times already it's been a couple weeks back. But we're starting to see some momentum pick up on this, and let's just see how she reacts. SAEX.
Yeah. Okay. And last but not least is our little friend NVCN. This one here is Neovas. And that company there they were at the annual meeting, 32nd annual meeting here. That was for the European Association for Cardiothoracic, or I hope I'm pronouncing that right, surgery meeting that was held this past couple days in Italy. And they did a live broadcast on this. And they did show that they reinforced Tiara's potential as a promising treatment option for patients who are unsuitable to receive open heart surgical valve replacement. And they were able to see firsthand the simplicity of a minimally invasive transapical transcatheter approach, resulting in complete elimination of the patient's MR. So
That's big news.
an MR is mitral regurgitation. Okay. So that's actually good news. This should be on watch because they do plan to expand their Tiara clinical program and ultimately see if they can use this routinely in patients once regulatory approvals are obtained. So just keep this on watch, and Jim can tell us all about the charts.
Yeah, NVCN is the worst trade I've ever made in my life. Maybe the second worst. But I was hopping this thing up, and it's already had a reverse split. So I was telling everybody to buy this thing at 20 cents, and then it dipped all the way down. Everybody knows the story on this stock. Well, ever since the reverse split, it's picked up some momentum. And then this news comes out. It kind of excites me, but look at all the red on this thing. We're oversold on this thing now. Let's take up the 20-day chart. We had a run on it a couple weeks ago to 474. So we're starting a new run. We've moved up to all the moving averages. Let's pull up a daily. 1 minute. We had a breakout after hours. This thing might pull back to support right around 224, 227. Keep this on watch for a small pullback, and then maybe the sucker's going to take off tomorrow or going to rebound. But I've noticed the momentum here, and I'm going to start watching it again. I took it off my list. It was my most hated stock. Everybody knows about NVCN, so I don't have to explain anything. But I'm putting it back on my watch list, and I'm going to see if I can make some money on it. And that's it.
Okay. Well, you know what, guys? It's been a long day, and people were on edge. I think PLAG took a lot of energy out of a lot of people. And so, we don't want to over record today's session. It's the first day back into the market. So let's see what holds for us tomorrow. We gave you a couple ones to watch. So please watch them. And, if you're listening to the video and watching, you're welcome to come into the chat room and visit. You can come in there for a free trial for 2 weeks. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to stay. You can just come check it out. That's all. There's no expectations after the 2 weeks. If your experience works out and you're happy, we'd love for you to join the group. But, you're not obligated. So don't feel like if you come by that, you have to commit. You don't have to. So it's just, you just want you to experience being coached on voice during the day is really proving to be very helpful to a lot of people.
Yes.
So
we're getting a lot of feedback.
Exactly. And it's unfortunately, sometimes don't know, what are simple things like a 13G. And people were asking in chat, what's a 13G? Is that bad news? And we were explaining that it wasn't. We explained what it was. So, it's really helpful to people. And when you're trading on your own and you're new, it can be very frustrating. And I know that I've been there, and I don't want to be in a group where all they do is type all day, because I like being guided if I can be guided. So we know what it's like to be out there on your own. It's a little bit, it's more stressful, I think, than being together in a group. But everyone has their own, preference. Some people like being on their own. So anyhow, please feel free to come check us out, and please subscribe. Really appreciate all the subscribers. We've reached over 300, so our goal is to try to get to 1,000 within the next couple of more weeks. So let's see if we can achieve the goal. Please share the videos with people you think could use help. And again, you guys know we're all here to just help people do well. So have a fabulous night. We look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. And thank you so much. And thank you, Jim, for your help today, too.
Oh, yeah. And I've got a $1,000 challenge that I started a couple months ago. At first, it wasn't that easy. I started it with Stocktrade. There's no PDD rules. You can trade as much as you want, in and out. And so I got it down to $800, and then I had to rethink my strategy. And I figured I'd start picking a stock of the week and finding patterns, finding channels. And that's paid off very well. Today I added another $350 to my Stock account, and I've made over 300% on it in approximately 2 months, 2.5, 3 months. At first it wasn't easy, but then I started getting the hang of it. And maybe because the market wasn't that hot either. I started in the middle of summer when it was kind of slow. But now the market's picking up, so if you want to live listen to somebody scalp stocks for a little bit and get a couple lessons, that's what I'm here for. And I want to wish everybody a great day. This is the Aftermarket Report with Jim in Vegas. We love stocks. Today's date is October the 22nd, 2018 in Vegas. Would you like to say anything else?
No, I just want to wish everyone a good night. And all I can say is that even though we're recording the video live, I'm still looking at a lot of stocks. And one of them to add on your watch list as well is TTNP. I am noticing a lot of activity here after hours on TTNP. It is an active swing for some of us, but just keep that one on watch for tomorrow. TTNP.
All right. She threw in a special.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay, guys. Have a good night.
I love stocks.
I certainly love stocks. Have a good night.